Good afternoon, children.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Those who have understood erythroblastosis fetalis, I want them to explain. You just start, one of you can start, I'll ask others to continue. For the sake of those who missed the class. Malavika, shall I start from you? Okay. No confidence? You can manage. You try, I'm here to help you.
Erythroblastosis fetalis means it is the RH incompatibility between RH negative blood of the mother and RH positive blood of the fetus.
And one more thing, Nandana. Erythroblastosis fetalis means that is specific. It is affecting only the fetus. Other than that, upon blood transfusion, RH positive and RH negative blood can cause agglutination. That is another issue. But erythroblastosis fetalis means, as she mentioned, as we already discussed, it's affecting the fetus. Other than that also, apart from erythroblastosis fetalis is also when a negative person, when a person who is negative, having negative blood or AB negative or O negative, whatever it is, O negative or without RH factor, such a person is receiving blood from another person having RH positive blood, again complications can arise. But when this is affecting the baby in the womb, okay, that is known as erythroblastosis fetalis. From the term itself, we can understand. Okay, Malavika. Then continue. Steffi, what is next? What else we learned?
During the first pregnancy, there will be no complications, but during the second pregnancy, the RH.
Okay, but what happens by the end of the first pregnancy?
The RH negatives of the mother gets mixed up with the RH positives of the child.
So this will result in the production of?
And the RH antigens.
Not antigen, antibodies against?
RH.
RH factor. So that will remain in her blood. Then what happens, Gayatri?
Then during the second pregnancy, if the fetus is
a little louder, I'm growing old.
And during the second pregnancy, if the fetus is RH positive, then the mother, the antibodies in the mother's blood will affect the antibodies. So
that can leak into the fetal blood. And what harm it causes? If the antibodies are entering the blood of fetus, what are the complications arising? It will destroy?
It will destroy the RBCs of fetus. And
that is why the name erythro. Erythro stands for red color. It is affecting the RBCs, resulting in anemia and jaundice. And it can be fatal. In certain conditions, it can be fatal. So in order to prevent the complications, soon after the first delivery, in case if the mother is negative, and not for all pregnancies or not all the ladies after delivery, they have to take this injection. If she is negative and the first child is positive, in such cases, after the delivery, an injection will be taken, and this injection contains RH immunoglobulin, RH antibodies. So something which is against, which is destroying those antibodies will be taken in, so that the name of that substance or the medicine which they are injecting into their body is known as RH immunoglobulin. That will be introduced. So that will prevent the antibodies from attacking the fetal RBCs in the second pregnancy if the baby is RH positive. If it is RH negative, no complications. It can be positive or negative also. The child can get mother's blood group or father's, means negative, or it can be positive. If it is negative, no problem. But to be on the safer side, they take this injection so that even if the second child is positive, there won't be any complications. And after that, we learned about different blood vessels. We started with the first one, that is arteries, and we learned the function of arteries, the different layers of arteries also we learned. Tunica, which are those layers, Sania? Sania?
Inner tunica, intima.
Inner tunica?
Intima.
Huh.
Middle tunica, medica.
Media.
Media. Then outer tunica, media.
Media. Everything is media. Intima, media, externa, no?
I wrote it wrong. Ma'am, I had a doubt.
Wait 1 minute. I'll show you once again that. Intima, media, externa. Tunica, externa, tunica, media, tunica, intima. What is your doubt?
Ma'am, if the mother's blood is positive and if the child is negative, will it be the same?
If the mother's blood is?
Positive. And child's blood is negative.
Yes, child's blood, it won't be a problem because mother's blood is positive and the baby's blood is Rh negative, no? So it's not having any Rh factor. So mother will not, see, if it is negative and positive, she is not having it. So she is exposed to foreign antigen. So her body will produce. But in the other case, what you said, she is already positive. Means she is already having that Rh factor. So when the baby is Rh negative, it's not having that factor, no. So her body will not produce antibodies. So no antigen, no external or foreign antigen is not introduced. That lady has to produce antibodies. So she won't produce antibodies because the baby is Rh negative. So there is no production of antibodies. Understood, Sania? Because when a person is not having that factor and that factor is getting introduced or she is exposed to that factor, against it she will produce antibodies. But in the case what you said, she is already positive. And when she is getting exposed to negative, it's not going to make any change. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Veins, they carry blood towards heart. You can make it a little more clear. They carry blood from different parts of the body back to the heart. So veins will carry blood from different parts of the body back to the heart. And they carry deoxygenated blood. But here also there is an exemption. Pulmonary vein, they always carry pure blood. Pulmonary vein, pure blood. Pulmonary artery, impure blood. This you have learned in class 10, but please don't forget it. Their smaller branches are known as venules. So arteries, smaller branches, arterioles. Veins, smaller branches, venules. Veins are also 3-layered. So just like arteries, veins are also 3-layered. But the middle layer is thin when compared to arteries. So they are also made up of 3 layers, middle layer, outer layer, inner layer. But the only difference is that the the middle layer will be comparatively thin on comparison with the walls of arteries. It will be thin. The middle layer will be thin when compared to that of artery. And here in the picture, you can see the veins are provided with valves. But arteries do not have any valves. Veins are provided with valves to prevent the backward flow of blood. Now capillaries. Capillaries are minute blood vessels, just one cell thick. So in the tissue, so you can see in the picture, artery will carry blood from the heart to different parts of the body. So when it reaches the different tissues, first it will branch into arterioles, they further branch and form minute capillaries supplying blood to each and every cell. Now, from these cells, another set of blood vessels or capillaries will carry, because once it is supplied to the tissues, you know that arteries are carrying oxygen-rich blood. So once they reach the tissues, they branch into minute blood vessels known as capillaries, which will be supplying blood to each and every cell. So once it is supplied to the cell, oxygen will be used up and it will be loaded with carbon dioxide. So those capillaries from the tissues, they'll unite, First they form venule, then they will join veins. So that network of minute blood vessels, you call it as capillaries. They connect arteries and veins. So those minute blood vessels which are present between the artery and veins, you call it as capillaries. So in tissues, artery will branch into arterioles. They'll form minute, thin-walled or just one cell thick blood vessels. You call it as capillaries. Capillaries then will be supplying, that is branches of these arterioles. I told first artery will branch into arterioles. They further form minute blood vessels known as capillaries. They'll be supplying blood, oxygen-rich blood to the tissues. Then it will be used up, loaded with oxygen to carry that. Another set of capillaries will be there. They unite and form venules. Venules join and form vein. All these you have learned in lower classes. Now, next we are going to learn about the structure of heart. This also you have learned in class 10. Heart is mesodermally derived organ. Children, you have learned about triploblastic animals. Hope you are remembering. Triploblastic animals means all the organs, the different parts are formed from 3 layers. Ectoderm, outermost layer, endoderm, mesoderm. Mesoderm is middle layer, endoderm is innermost, and ectoderm is the outermost layer. It is from these 3 layers of cells the different organs, all these are formed. Such animals are triploblastic animals. So heart is formed from the mesodermal layer. So different organs are formed from these different layers like ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm. But heart is mesodermally derived, means formed from the mesoderm. Located in mediastinum. Mediastinum means the space between the 2 lungs. The region between 2 lungs, or you can say, you know, thoracic cavity you have learned. The cavity which encloses your lungs, heart. So central compartment of the thoracic cavity, or just understand that the space between the 2 lungs. That is mediastinum. And so heart is located in the mediastinum. It is mesodermally derived and it is covered by a double layered membrane, and you call it as pericardium. Pericardial membrane or pericardium is a double layered membrane which covers the heart, providing it protection. And in between the 2 pericardial membranes, I told it is double layered. So in between these 2 membranes, a fluid is present. You call it as pericardial fluid. Relate to the term cardial. So you know cardiology, cardiac failure. So that is related to heart. So remember like that, pericardium is a membrane. You can even call it as pericardial membrane or simply pericardium. And in between these 2 membranes, there is a fluid. You call it as pericardial fluid. Michael, what do you call the fluid?
Pericardial fluid.
You were here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. No, physically you are there. Pericardial fluid. And what is the purpose of this fluid? It will help in reducing the friction between the walls of the heart and the surrounding tissues. If you maybe for 1 mark, it can be asked, give the function of pericardial fluid. It will help in reducing the friction or lubricates or reduces the friction between the walls of the heart and the surrounding tissues. And how many chambers are there for the heart? Evelyn, how many chambers are there in human heart?
4 chambered.
Which are they?
2 atrium and 2
2
ventricle.
atria and
2 ventricle.
ventricles. Upper chambers are atria. Atrium is singular, or we can even call it as auricles. I have learned, in my school days, I have learned it as auricle. But now it is given in the textbook as atrium. Auricle also you can say, it's not wrong. Auricle, auricles. Then atrium singular and atria plural. So 2 upper chambers, you call it as atria, and 2 lower chambers, you call it as ventricles. The walls of the ventricles are thicker than that of atria. So ventricles are having thicker walls. They are larger also when compared to atria. They are larger and at the same time they are thick walled. What is the reason? Why ventricles are having thicker walls than that of atria? Who can tell me? Is there any reason? This is not a new topic for you. You have learned. Tell me why ventricles are having thick walls. Think about the function. You have learned the working of heart, double circulation and all you have learned in 10th standard. I have taught you.
The blood in the ventricles have higher pressure.
They have to
pump it all over the body, so it has higher pressure.
Because ventricles have to pump the blood. Ventricles need to pump the blood to different parts of the body, whereas atria or auricles, they are just receiving the blood. Atria, the right and left atria, they are just receiving the blood, whereas the duty of the ventricles is to pump the blood. And to pump the blood, they should have stronger walls. So that is the reason. Good. Michael. The atria are separated by interatrial septum. So this term also you have learned in class 10. Septa is the partition between different chambers, or these different chambers are formed or are partitioned with the help of septa. And the septa, they are known by different names depending upon where it is present. The two atria, right atria and left atria, are separated by interatrial septum. Inter means in between. So the one which is present between right and left atrium, interatrial septum. So definitely the one which is present between two ventricles will be interventricular septum. Okay? Interatrial and interventricular septum. There is no chance of any confusion because the one which is separating two atria, interatrial. The one which is separating two ventricles, interventricle. Now, what do you call the one which separates ventricles and auricles? Now, for that also we need a septum or separation. Guess, no? If you can remember interatrial and interventricular, think about the term or think about the name of the septum which divides auricles and ventricles. Let it be a guesswork, no? Say. Gayatri is about to say. Tell Gayatri.
Atrial, ventricular.
Let it be
septum.
wrong, no problem. Atrial.
Ventricular septum.
Atrioventricular or auriculoventricular septum, which is separating atrium and ventricle. Auriculoventricular or atrioventricular septum. It's a thick and fibrous structure. It separates atrium and ventricle. So separating these different chambers, we have septa. They are known by different names. The one which is separating two atria, we call it as interatrial septum. The one which is separating two ventricles, you call it as interventricular septum. And finally, the one which is separating ventricles and auricles, you call it as atrioventricular septum, and that is provided with an opening. That is to be noted. Here there is opening, whereas between right atrium and right ventricle, right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. So here there is septum, okay, and here also separating them also septum is there, and here also you can find septum. Here there is no opening, there is no exchange of blood here, but here there is opening. What is the reason? Who can tell me the reason? Here there is a connection, there is an opening, but here the septum present here, there is no opening here. What is the reason, children?
Because the oxygenator and deoxygenator
Oh,
will get
Steffi,
mixed.
very good. Right side has got what type of blood, Steffi? Steffi only, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Right side deoxygenated.
Correct. Right side deoxygenated blood and left side oxygenated blood. So if there is an opening here, the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood will get mixed together. So blood which is present on the right and left side never mix together. That is why there is no connection or no opening. But definitely the blood reaching right atrium has to move into right ventricle, and the blood reaching left atrium should move to left ventricle. That is why they are provided with an opening. Good. Now moving on. Then this you have learned in class 10 about valves are present, but you haven't, I think I've mentioned just the names. I don't remember. I think I've mentioned just the names, but you have not learned in detail about the different valves. So there are valves present. 4 valves are there in your heart, which is preventing the backward flow of blood. This is also very important. You should know the location of these 4 valves and what function do they play. All the valves have one common function, that is it will prevent the backward flow of blood. Blood can flow only in one direction. It cannot revert and go back to the place from where it came. A tricuspid valve. Cusp, it is having 3 cusp or 3 muscular flaps are present. So you call it as tricuspid. 3 flaps are there. So we call it as tricuspid valve. And where is tricuspid valve present? In between. So tricuspid valve is present between right atrium and right ventricle. So this is right atrium, right ventricle. So separating that, there is the tricuspid valve having 3 flaps, 3 muscular flaps. So this one will be guarding the opening between right atrium and right ventricle. But the valve which is present between left atrium and left ventricle is having only 2 flaps. You call it as bicuspid valve. Tricuspid and bicuspid valve. Okay. So those are the 2 valves present between right atrium and ventricle, left atrium and left ventricle. A bicuspid valve, it is also known as mitral valve. It guards the opening between left atrium and left ventricle. You should not get confused. Where is tricuspid? Is it on the right side or left side? So make some codes and remember where is tricuspid and bicuspid valve present. Okay, how will you remember? See, you can remember trip and no. Okay. Bill, if you remember the term bill, I think you can remember. Bicuspid. You can use your own tips and tricks. Bill. So bicuspid valve on left side. So if you know where is bicuspid valve present, then on the other side tricuspid valve will be there. Okay. Is that clear? Or in tricuspid valve, tri. So immediately after T, R is coming. So tricuspid valve is present on the right side. Any one you can remember. Once you can remember tri or bill, automatically if bicuspid is on the left side, tricuspid on the right side. And if you can remember tricuspid is on the right side, definitely the other one will be easy. Okay, make some codes and tricks when you find such confusing terms so that you will not forget in your lifetime. Okay, moving on to next one. So these are the valves which will prevent the flow of blood in the backward direction. They will allow the blood to flow only from atria to ventricles. Once the blood has reached The ventricles, they can never go back to atria. That is impossible. From atria to ventricles, as soon as the blood moves from right atrium to right ventricle, this valve will be closed so that the blood cannot flow back. Same is applicable for bicuspid valve also. So these are the two valves separating atria and ventricles. Now moving on to the next set of valves. The openings of the right and left ventricles into the pulmonary artery and aorta respectively are provided with semilunar valves. They prevent the backward flow of blood. So semilunar valves also, they will also prevent the backward flow of blood. You call it as semi-lunar because these valves are in half moon shape. Lunar, moon, semi-lunar. So the appearance, or it looks like half moon. That is why it got the name semi-lunar valves. There are two types of two semi-lunar valves are there. One is aortic valve and the other one is pulmonary valve. Common together we call it as semi-lunar valves. Pulmonary and aortic valve. Pulmonary and aortic valve. And where are they present? Now children, once the blood has reached the right ventricle, where it goes? You've learned the circulation of blood in 10th standard. So from right atrium, the valves open, goes to right ventricle. From right ventricle, where it will go? Who can tell me? Right ventricle. What type of blood is present in right ventricle? Vidur, what type of blood is present in right ventricle? Pure or impure? Right. Pure or impure?
Impure.
Impure. So impure blood is present in the right ventricle. So where it should be pumped to, ventricles are pumping the blood. From the right ventricle, where the blood should go. You told me it is deoxygenated. Now what we have to do with this deoxygenated blood? It has to be made
Pure.
Pure, or it has to be made oxygenated. Which organ can carry out oxygenation? In your body, where the blood can be loaded with oxygen? Which is that organ? We learned in detail in the last chapter. Where your blood is getting loaded with oxygen, children? Evelyn?
Lungs.
Lungs. So, Vidur, where it should go? From the right atrium. It should go to lungs. Who will carry to the lungs? So, the term pulmonary means it is related to lungs. So, is it pulmonary artery or pulmonary vein which will take this to lungs? So much to think. Impure blood in right ventricle, it has to be taken to the lungs. Is it pulmonary artery or pulmonary vein?
Artery.
Pulmonary artery. Why artery? Artery always carries pure blood, but I told you one exemption or exceptional case, that is pulmonary artery carry impure, pulmonary vein carries pure blood. So from the right ventricle, the blood will be pumped via pulmonary artery to the lungs. Okay. Then left side. Left ventricle has got pure blood. Where it will go? Pure blood. Where it should reach?
Different parts of the body.
Different parts of the body. Who will take it? Which blood vessel? The largest artery?
Aorta.
Aorta. So aorta will take it to different. So don't forget this. Right side impure. Left side pure blood. From right atrium, right ventricle. So relate, understand the meaning. Right ventricle, it is impure. So we have to make it pure. For that, we should send it to lungs. So sending it to the lungs is done by pulmonary artery. And on the left side, left atrium to left ventricle. That is pure blood. So this pure blood should be supplied to different parts of the body, and that is carried out by the largest artery, that is aorta. Now we will see where are these semilunar valves present. Okay, here it is not given. So I'll tell you where it is present. See, here you can find in the figure pulmonary valve, aortic valve. Okay, these two are together known as semilunar valves. So these two together we call it as semilunar valves. So where is pulmonary valve present? In between right atrium and pulmonary artery. So when the right ventricle pumps the blood, the pulmonary valve should open. Only then it can reach pulmonary artery so that it can be taken to lungs. Similarly, aortic valve is present in between right ventricle and aorta. Okay, is it clear? That is given in the last sentence. The openings of right and left ventricle into pulmonary artery and aorta are provided with semilunar valves. So right between right ventricle right ventricle, it is impure blood, so it should be taken to the lungs. So it has to be supplied to the pulmonary artery, whereas here it can be supplied to different parts of the body. So these semilunar valves are present here. Here pulmonary valve, here aortic valve. In between left ventricle and aorta, aortic valve. In between right ventricle and pulmonary artery, pulmonary valve. Clear, children? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any doubts? So quickly summarize what we learned. Naureen, why majority of the videos are off? Should I take a screenshot and put in the group? We do all that for lower classes. I don't mind doing. Rijaz was present today. I didn't see you. Your video was off. Today also only 13 are present. I don't know, after missing these classes, how are you going to manage? You will get a very short period before your annual exam. And some are thinking that we will see the recorded session. All those are there. No, we will see. But these classes or these recorded sessions will pile up and you will not feel like seeing it. So as much as possible, try that you don't skip. I'm not telling about biology class alone. Whichever subject it is, see that you make yourself free. And yes, Meenakshi, no problem. Unless there is some emergency, don't skip your classes, because you are going to get into trouble. We don't have any problem, but don't think that some people are thinking that our recorded session is there. No, so during study holidays, one by one, we'll see. You won't get time to see the recorded session and then study. So try to attend all the classes. And if emergency cases, we can't help because we all are human beings. Maybe some emergency comes and you have to go there, or hospital cases or emergency cases, we can't do anything. That is once in a while you skip the class. But some of them are regularly skipping the classes. And once they come to know that I have discussed about the same in the class, then immediately I'll get messages one after the other. Ma'am, I had this, I had that. I have no problem. It's you are going to get affected. So see that you don't miss any classes unless there is some emergency. Think about your regular classes. You will be full time in the school. Now you are having either in the morning or in the afternoon session. Am I right? So one session you are free. So try to attend all the classes, whether it is physics, chemistry, biology, maths, whatever it is. I'm not telling only about my class. Please don't skip, because regularly I'm seeing it. If it is once in a while, I would have ignored. But on a regular basis, maximum is 14, 16. But I think in the beginning, 19 were there. I don't know where all went. They just came to see whether I'm taking class properly or not. Some people are there, no supervisors. Okay. Who is going to summarize? We'll start with Steffi.
The heart is from the heart, ma'am.
From there only we started, no?
Heart is a mesodermally derived organ.
Where is it present?
Heart.
A special place, I said, no? In between the lungs. Mediastinum.
Mediastinum.
Then it's covered by?
Ma'am, I have to read.
Wither.
Protected by double layered
membrane. What do you call it?
Pericardium.
Pericardium. Okay.
Pericardium.
Rijas, continue. Rijas. Forgot the question.
The pericardial space is filled with pericardial fluid.
What is its function?
It helps to reduce the friction between.
You got some time to revise, no? Okay. Between the walls of the heart and the surrounding tissues. Sania.
Heart is 4 chamber, 2 upper its artery and 2 lower is ventricle.
Artery.
Atrium and ventricles.
Atria plural, atrium singular. Okay.
Then ventricles are thicker because they have to pump high pressure blood to the body.
Blood under high pressure, because heart will be pumping blood. So it is ventricles' job to supply to either to the lungs or to the different parts of the body. So their walls have to be quite strong. Then what else we learned? Donna?
The atria separated by the interatrial septum and the ventricles are separated by the interventricular septum.
One more septum we learned. What was that? Between atria
atrioventricular septum.
Atrioventricular septum. So that will be separating atria and ventricles. Then what else we learned? Michael? Now you should have so much energy. Okay. And because you have already supplied some energy giving foods.
There's an opening, but there are 2 valves that connect the both of the septum.
Valves are connecting septum.
No.
Chambers. The 4 chambers. Tell me the names of those valves. Just tell the names of those 4 valves.
Tricuspid valve.
Okay.
Bicuspidal valve.
Bicuspid, then?
Bicuspid.
I told you about the shape of something, and that is why it is known by that name.
Mitral valve.
That is the other name for our valve you already mentioned. Bicuspid. But other than that, we said. That time only you went to the kitchen to take food. Okay, leave it. Who will say? Nandana?
Semilunar valves.
Semilunar valves. There are 2 types of semilunar valves. Which are they, Steffi? Steffi is feeling sleepy?
No, ma'am.
Sure?
Yes, ma'am.
Feeling like having a tea?
No.
That is there. Don't tell me lie. If somebody provides you tea, definitely you will drink. Okay, continue. What do you call those 2 semilunar valves?
Ma'am, what they are made of?
No, no. There are specific names for that, depending upon their location.
I don't know, ma'am. I didn't write.
Very good. Who else? Anthony, Naureen, Meenakshi. Meenakshi?
Pulmonary valve and aortic valve.
Pulmonary valve and aortic valve. Why pulmonary valve?
That is what it is made of, right?
Not made of. Semilunar valves, two types are there. So depending upon where they are present, we name it accordingly. Like we call it as pulmonary valve because it is present between the right ventricle and pulmonary artery. So pulmonary valve. Next one between left ventricle and aorta. So aortic valve. So only if that opens, the blood can go to the aorta. And only when pulmonary valve opens, the blood can go through the pulmonary artery to the lungs. Okay. So we'll wind up our session for today. So thank you, children. See you next class.